You ready, Ev? Yep. Awesome. Mike, cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for coming, brother.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Nice little chilly night.
Right, exactly.
I appreciate
you got a nice one.
You made it audible for me. I actually had somebody else cancel today.
Yeah.
Work, obviously, we're all business owners.
Absolutely.
Came first, and I understood that, and you stepped up. You were in a couple weeks from now.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that.
No, my pleasure. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think we connected through Instagram, kind of when I started throwing some of these fireside chats out, right?
Yeah, yeah. I was a fan. I watched Jamie from Equinbro, who's a good friend, and Pat Gagliano, another friend. And I was like, oh, wow, this is a very cool concept.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was cool. And that's the thing that I like about this most is it's really helping me. It's weird when I tell like people like my father-in-law and people that are not from our generation, I'm like, I'm virtually creating relationships with people. And he's like,
yeah.
What the fuck does that mean? Like he looks at me like I have 10 heads.
Yeah.
But I'm like, it's impossible for me to go to the happy hour every night and still be a good dad or hang with my wife or try to not be 400 pounds.
Yep.
It's easy to just stay in touch with someone that, hey, I like their stuff, seems like a family guy, let's follow along. And Fireside has, introduced me to guys like you, which is awesome.
Nah, that's it. You slide into another guy's DMs and that's it.
Yeah, there you go. Look at us. We're in love now.
Exactly.
So, a little, homework here. This is really about spotlighting small business owners, individuals, women and men, in Ocean and Monmouth County. I see that you have a boxing gym, a kickboxing gym,
Yep.
CKO in Freehold. Ash got you.
Yeah.
And Toms River as well.
Yes.
The Toms River location.
Yep.
You're predominantly, in your full-time job, though, a realtor.
Yes.
Dealing with realty. And 3 beautiful daughters.
Yep. That's right.
And a beautiful wife.
Yes.
So
I'm
you're
the only guy. That's
you're,
it.
You're
I tried for the boy. I'm a girl dad.
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. Needless to say, you're a guy that I want to spotlight.
Thank you.
Seem like a genuine dude, good dude.
Absolutely.
And I want to hear your story, and I'm sure you can inspire somebody else.
Yeah.
So you grew up in Manalapan, right?
Yes. Yep. Moved to Manalapan in '93.
93.
Yeah.
And you were a big ball player, baseball.
Yeah. Yep. Always liked playing ball. I grew up in Staten Island, playing ball there. Came to Manalapan, went right into baseball. That was like always my sport.
Now, you sure you don't know Billy D'Angelo? Because he claims he runs Staten Island.
No, I don't know. Was Staten Island Little League legend? I don't know. I got to look at the, what was the paper there? The Staten Island Advance.
Billy, dude, that's another guy from Staten Island. Don't know you, bro.
Yeah, Staten Island Advance. We got to check if you made the rally section there.
Billy's a great dude. He'll be on the Fireside soon. He's a
Awesome.
character. You're going to want to see that one. Kind of walking through your life chronologically, you came out of school, went to Rowan, and you were playing baseball. You were really feeling like you were going to try to go shoot to play in the pros, right?
Yeah. I played baseball at CBA. I was a late bloomer, had a good senior year. So with baseball, you commit typically after your junior season because it's a spring sport. So I committed to Rowan after my junior year, had a really good senior year. After senior year, scholarship opportunities came, but the coach at Rowan, who I respect like on another level, this guy John Cole, was like, you did give your word, where was everybody a year ago? And I was like, you know what, he's right. He spotted me before, I had this crazy senior year. I was like, I'm gonna go to Rowan. I felt like my opportunities were go to a really good D3 school, Rowan, where you're playing Montclair, TCNJ, William Patterson, all the big time D3 schools, a chance to go to the World Series. Or I can go to a low D1, say I played Division I, get a scholarship, and, but
Maybe you don't play.
we're not going to Omaha,
Yeah.
if I play at some D1 school in New York, but they're D1. I'd rather go to a competitive D3 where I had a chance to go to the World Series, and we did go to the World Series my senior year.
And how was your college career? How'd you do?
I did good. I felt personally, I felt like I underperformed, but I, went on to be captain, one of my senior year. I was the closer, so which I enjoyed. Before I was a pitcher, which started about my junior year in high school, I was a position player, so I liked playing every day. So closer was a good role for me because there was always an opportunity I was going to play. I was never going to be the starter who pitched the game and then sat and watched the next 4 games waiting my turn. I liked that if the game was close, I knew I was going to go in, and I liked the hype of
Yeah,
eighth
going
inning,
in.
go get down to the bullpen, go get warmed up. You got to close this out for us. I love that. I love the the stress.
You thought you were Mariano.
Yes, definitely. A lot shorter, but definitely felt like when I came in, like I felt like I was 7 feet tall.
Sandman was playing.
Yeah, I felt I was 7 feet tall at that time. Yeah.
Now, for a guy who was enjoying baseball so much and feeling like maybe I have a chance here to go pro or play some amateur ball, how did it impact you when that didn't happen? Like, some people, when they're so fixated on sports, whether it be football, basketball, baseball, they kind of shut down.
Yeah.
But also small business owners, some of the best ones come from the athletic world because of their competitive nature.
Yeah.
What did that do to you? Were you like, all right, it's just not for me, and you kind of ran to Wall Street, which we'll talk about next, or were you like, this kind of sucks, and did it leave you stagnant for a little while?
Yeah, it was a tough spot because when I graduated my senior year, obviously I didn't get drafted, which in baseball there's 50 rounds. So if you don't get drafted, you're already like, there was 50 rounds and 30 teams, and
no one picked me at 49.
Yeah, you kind of have to start thinking like, maybe I'm not even in the top 5,000 people. But I did get tryouts, so I was like, all right, there's interest, and on, not that it's you wish this on anybody, but people do get hurt, so there's opportunities, and I certainly had a lot of tryouts. But every tryout I went to, I was always called to the side, and they were like, we really like your stuff. I didn't throw overhand. I kind of threw like 3/4. I threw hard. I threw low 90s. They're like, we love your arm angle. We love that you throw hard, but you're a little guy. This is probably where you're going to top out. So when you hear that so many times, it's like, what point do you have to tell yourself, like
the data is not lying.
And it's not like, sure, these scouts probably know each other, but the Phillies are telling you the same thing as the Dodgers and the Tampa Bay at the time, the Rays, and they're all saying the same thing. Like, we like your stuff, but what are we going to do? You're going to draft you, and you're just going to sit in the minors forever. You're not a big league guy. So when you hear that enough, you just say like, all right, I got to get serious about my life at this point, and that's when I focused on my
so
getting
you
my
went,
job in finance.
Yeah, fast forward, you went into finance.
Yeah.
You started with Lehman, right?
Yeah, I was at Lehman Brothers. Yep.
You were interning, and then you were moving into a role to be an analyst.
Yep.
You were there. How many years were you with Lehman?
So I was at Lehman 13 and a half years. I started off as an intern in payroll. My best friend's dad ran the accounting department, and he was like, listen, he goes, you come here, you start with me, I run accounting, start off in payroll. He goes, and it's always easier to move around within the company than being an outsider trying to get in.
Mm-hmm.
So the cool thing about payroll is that you work with HR.
Yeah.
And I happen to handle the equities division of payroll. So I was always dealing with equity HR. Mm-hmm. And they were like, wow, you have such a personality, you should come over here. And I'm like, listen, let me know if there's an opportunity. And, I would love to explore. The idea is to grow.
Mm-hmm.
My best friend's dad brought me in knowing like, hey, I'm not going to keep him forever, but I'll, help him,
Yeah, everybody wins.
Yeah. So sure enough, an opportunity came up in equity research, and they were like, listen, there's a job here. You're not going to be a research analyst, where you're actually making calls for traders and recommending what to do with a stock, but you'll learn how to do that. So I was like, all right, yeah. I was like, you got to start somewhere. So I took that gig after I was in payroll for about 2 years, and then I went over to equities. And so I started at Lehman in 2004, went to equities in 2006, and Lehman Brothers went bankrupt in 2008 as I was kind of getting my footing.
Yeah.
I was in equities, and now the company goes under. It's around 150 years. I just get going, and it goes bankrupt. And
you're sitting there like, man,
yeah.
I got so hooked up. My buddy's dad hooked me
Yep.
up. I got into this program. I just got to put my head down, do some hard work.
Exactly. He literally said, I'm bringing you in. Make the best of the opportunity. I felt like I was following his direction. I was like, I did that. I hooked up with equity HR. They brought me over to equities. I did exactly what he said would happen. He's like, this is what will happen. I'll get you in the company, and then you'll move around. I did that, and the company goes bankrupt. And then sure enough, Barclays Capital took over Lehman Brothers. And immediately, they started looking through. Do we need, this department, that department? And
do we need the newest guy in equities?
Yeah, and I wasn't an analyst, so I was just a guy in training. Mm-hmm. So like, well, we'll keep the guys who are already in it. So I was laid off with thousands of people, so it wasn't like just me. But at the time, the thing was everybody was sending out an email like, oh guys, I got laid off, here's my personal contact information, give me a call, let's stay in touch, great years at Lehman Brothers. So I sent out one of those emails, and my buddy's dad is like, hey, actually, Lehman's going bankrupt with billions of dollars. It wasn't like we have no money. It was just like people stopped trading with us. So he's like, I'm actually starting a new accounting department, but at the Lehman Brothers Holdings. We got to unwind the company. I know you went to equities. Would you like the opportunity to come back? It'll be a year-to-year deal. It could be a 1-year contract. It could be 2. He goes, I don't know. He goes, every year will be a new deal. And I ended up being with the bankruptcy for another 9 years.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
That's great.
Just signing 1-year deals. And
so what did you do once you, said, hey, I'm not going to stick to the Wall Street world, and that world has, transformed over the last 15 years significantly.
Yeah, definitely.
What made you say, hey, I want to go down and open a gym, or I want to go down, back home and, just be, somebody who works in the community or working as a realtor?
Yeah.
How did you come up with those thoughts? What were you thinking at that time?
Yeah. So being that this new opportunity was presented as it's a year-to-year deal, obviously my mind was always running. Like, it's either I'm going to stay in finance, figure something else out. Right away, I took a real estate class in 2009 or 10, I guess it was 2009. And I got my license, and I said, let me see, maybe real estate's for me. I don't know. My mother was in real estate. I was like, I've heard the conversations. I'm like, I think I would like that, but I'm not sure. So I got my license, and I just kind of, I sold a couple places up. I was living up in Union City. I sold a couple places in Hoboken and Union City. It's a different world up there. It's not like Monmouth County. There's no parking. You're going to walk-ups, and I'm working at Lehman Brothers. I'm trying to show places after work. I'm like, I just put my license in referral, they call it, where I have my license, but I'm not active. I can just refer out the business. Fast forward a couple years, I get engaged to my wife, Lauren, and I'm like, I need to lose weight for this wedding, because at this point now I'm an animal. I went from a college athlete to I work and I sit in a desk, and the only time I get up is to go eat lunch.
Have cocktails at
yeah,
happy
exactly.
hour.
Yeah, I go to eat lunch, and then I go to happy hour after.
The
and
beer's on the train.
Yeah, I'm like an animal at this point. I'm like embarrassing. So I'm like, I got to join a gym. And it's funny, at the time, I was a big fan of The Biggest Loser on TV. And that season, around when I was getting married, they were doing boxing. And I'm like, I was like, that looks fun. Like, again, I'm not a fitness guy at all. So I always tell people now when they look at CKO, they're like, oh, a fitness guy. I'm like, not a fitness guy. Like, I went into this as a finance guy who needed to lose weight for his wedding. I joined CKO in Hoboken, so I lived up that way. And in the 3 months before the wedding, I lost 20 pounds. And when I joined there, I told the people at the counter, I was like, it's July at this point, my wedding was in October. I was like, 3 months gets me right to the wedding, perfect. I'm gonna do the 3-month membership, and in my back of my mind, I was like, these people won't see me after October. And I went 4 or 5 times a week, lost about 20 pounds. On the honeymoon, I remember joking around my wife, and I'm like, is this sick that I miss CKO? I'm like, I gotta go to class. Like, I'm used to going 5-6 times a week. Like, I can't wait to get back and rejoin it, because at the time I didn't have a membership. I only did the membership up to my wedding. So as soon as we got back, and I'm like, what's the cheapest way to go about this? Just join for the year, pay it in full, whatever. Like, yeah, if you pay for the year in full, we give a discount. I'm like, I'll do that, And fast forward a couple more months, I lost another 20 pounds. So now I'm a finance guy who's lost 40 pounds with this workout. I know my job is going to end at some point, and I have this gym that does not exist. It's a franchise, but does not exist in Monmouth County. And I'm like, I'm not a business owner at this point. I'm just like, this is a really good idea. And I'm like, looking around, again, I laugh at myself now. I'm like, oh, so they got bags hanging and they sign up members. What a concept. This is easy. Like, I should do this.
It's always easy.
Yeah, exactly. When you're that guy, it's like when you're eating dinner. You're like, oh, I should open a restaurant. I love to eat. But you don't
banging chicken parm.
Yeah, exactly. You don't realize what goes into it. But at the time, I was naive. I was 28, 29 at this point. And I'm like, oh, I should totally do one of these. But they didn't have one in Monmouth County. So I started to, talk to the CEO. Luckily for me, owned the Hoboken. That was his location, his Hoboken. So I had access to him, every day, because I took class every day. And I was like, you don't have this in Monmouth County? He's like, you should do it. He goes, you're like the perfect gym owner. He goes, you're not the guy who was just doing bicep curls, squats, and whatever. He goes, you're a regular guy who works 9 to 5, sits in a desk, and then had success doing this workout. He goes, if there's anybody who could sell CKO Kickboxing, you're the guy.
You did it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
you
goes,
lived it.
You're exactly what we want. So I dug in, and back in 2012, I bought into CKO Kickboxing.
So now let me ask you, you're how old at that time?
29.
29
Yeah.
years old. So
Yeah.
you're 29 years old. You just left a massive institution.
Mm-hmm.
You're leaving.
I was still working there.
Well, oh, you're still working
still
there.
there,
You're at
yeah.
this. You're at this massive institution that
Yeah.
may keep you on, may not keep you
Exactly.
on. You probably making decent money.
Yeah.
You're in New York. Do I want to keep doing this Wall Street world? And then you're like, you have this little bulb go off in your head, and you're like, why wouldn't I open this gym
Yeah.
where I live?
Yep.
Right. I have all these contacts there. It's not in this location. It's worked for me.
Yep.
What type of, for lack of a better term, balls did it take for you to go and jump into that? Because a lot of times
Yeah.
people want to go do things and they get hit with this wall of fear. And a lot of times I tell people, you just got to jump. You just got to
Yeah.
go for it. The worst thing that happens is you fail and you go back to that big institutional job.
Yep.
Who cares?
Exactly.
What was going through your mind when you were doing that?
I was terrified, that's for sure. So back when I opened CKO, I was so scared that I knew I couldn't do it alone. So my best friend, Matt, he's another business owner. Actually, at the time, he was a police officer, and his little brother was a personal trainer. And, these are people, Matt and Anthony Cangelosi, Matt Cangelosi. I've known them since we're 10 years old, 11 years old. Anthony was 6. And he's a personal trainer for years. And I'm like, Ant, do me a favor. I'm like, please come take this class with me. Tell me I'm not crazy, right? Like, because I'm just a guy in finance. I fall in love with a concept. I don't want to be the guy at the restaurant who says, wow, this is great. I should open a restaurant. I'm like, just come take a class with me. Make sure I'm not missing something. He comes up. And again, this is a kid who worked in gyms for years. And after the class, he goes, this is the best cardio I've ever taken in my life. And he's been in gyms for years. He goes, I would do this with you if you wanted to do this with me. And I was like, yeah. I was like, I need that fitness aspect. And then, so now I have the fitness aspect of it. I have myself, and then my best friend, Matt, at the time, who's a police officer, also kind of like in the same boat as me. We went into, I went to school for business. I felt like I should do business. He went to school for criminal justice. He's like, I feel like I should do criminal justice. And we said, screw it. Let's take a shot. We had spreadsheets going. All right, if we get, 200, we said we need 100 members to break even. If we get 200 members, we're doing great. If we do 300 members, holy shit, we're crushing it. So 2 weeks before we're out to open CKO Freehold, we had 30 members. And we're like, all right, don't panic. It's, people don't know what it is over here. It's a thing in Hoboken. Everybody doesn't know. Out of nowhere, those 2 weeks before we're opening, we get 75 members. So we're like, oh my gosh, we open with about 105 members. We're like, all right, we're good. We could at least pay the rent.
Yeah.
The thing takes off like a rocket ship. Before we were 4 months in, we were hoping for 300. We had 400 members by April. And then fast forward, before the end of the first year was up, we were up to 800 members.
Wow.
In this little studio that we were like, oh my gosh, we had 30
What did you just run
30
classes
members.
from like 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. at night?
We had a nice class schedule, a 5 a.m. class, 5:30 a.m. class, 3 times a week. We offered a morning class. We had 4 night classes. We had polled, we looked at with the schools, what time do they go to school, because we want to make sure moms can get their kids on the bus and then get to class. So we came up with a 9:30 class. Most of the kids get on the bus, 8:30, gives parents plenty of time to get to that morning
dressed,
class.
get in the car.
Yep. We knew teachers get out of school early, so we can't wait till 5, 6 o'clock to have the first class. Let's have a class at 4:30, and we know we needed later classes for the people who commute.
Yeah.
So we did the research. We set up. We walked around town with backpacks on, with free class passes. We're open a business town. We grew up here. Please come try our gym. Literally, I remember walking around with Matt, handing out class passes. Just saying like, come try our gym, and it's skyrocketed.
Now, and you and Matt partners still?
Not partners anymore, because, and the cool thing is, and which we all agree with, is this gave, not only did it give me the confidence to start new businesses and leave my full-time job, it gave Matt the same confidence. He was a police officer, working 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. Listen, did he like it? Sure. But did he know he knew that I could do more.
Yeah.
You know, and an opportunity came for him to buy into Jersey Freeze ice cream, which it's been around since 1952 in Freehold. Opportunity came for him to get into that restaurant, open that one. And the only reason he got out of CKO was because he wanted to expand Jersey Freeze and open in Homedale in Bill Works. And that's why he eventually left Jersey Freeze. And then Anthony also left because he wanted to take his, he's a teacher, and he wanted to take his educational
Now, did you have to buy these guys out over time, or you gave them a chunk of
Yeah,
money?
no.
These are good things for people who are watching, like a little lesson.
Absolutely,
I like to grab little nuggets. So at the time, you had
Absolutely.
to figure out a buyout strategy over time. You gave them a lump sum. How did you guys
Absolutely.
go about
No,
that?
we did it all in one shot. We figured, let's just do it all here, so nobody's lagging around waiting. But I'm fortunate, because I've heard plenty of stories of other, friendships that ended.
Yeah, partnerships
I'm lucky
are tough.
that, like Matt and I are best friends. We talk. I probably have text from him right now on my phone. Like we're together nonstop. We text nonstop. So we're fortunate that we, ran a business together as best friends since we were 11, got out of it, and are still best friends.
That's cool, man.
Yeah,
That's a cool story.
No, definitely.
So where did the real estate start to come back in now? So the gym's rocking. You got 400 members. You no longer have two other partners. You're sitting there bringing in pretty decent income.
Yeah.
What were you thinking? Like, I want to go and chase real estate. I like that more than I like the gym. What was going on in your head?
Yeah. So it's funny, and it's not. I don't want to say like I'm a user, but it was like I always look at my life as like Lehman bridged me to CKO, and I felt like CKO was doing so well that it bridged me to leave Lehman and get into real estate. So I had my license, as I was telling you, from 2009, and I was, it was always in the back of my mind, like, I could do this. Like, I know I would be good with it. I'm like, if I just had, the balls to get rid of the biweekly paycheck and dive into this commission-based business. Like, every day you wake up, your salary is zero. It's a scary thought.
So something I want to stop you. Another good nugget.
Yeah.
So a lot of people that I talk to, friends, family, that are in corporate jobs, making high six-figure salaries, they're miserable, right?
Yeah.
They would love to start a business. Number one, they don't know what it is they want to do, right? Everybody thinks they need to have the perfect idea. You don't. Just take a leap, and at least you're not stagnant anymore.
Yeah.
And the second thing is, man, how do I leave that paycheck?
Yeah.
I'm so used to that paycheck. I got my mortgage coming up on the 15th. That's $3,000. I got, car payments, car insurance, kids, etc.
Yeah.
How did you talk yourself into it?
So, and what I will do is, since we're talking about nuggets and small business owners, when we opened CKO, putting real estate aside for a second,
You sold nuggets?
we should have sold nuggets, but we actually went out of pocket so it was three of us, $5,000 each when we opened CKO Kickboxing.
That's how cheap it was at the time?
No, it wasn't. But we needed financing. So, and this is like when I talk to my real estate clients because I do some commercial real estate, the advice I give them: be smarter when you look for investors. Right? We could have taken on somebody with money. Matt and I walked into TD Bank. We're like, we're going to go get a loan, business plan, and the guy at TD, unfortunately, I don't remember his name, but God bless this guy. He was like, listen, and he goes, we needed like $100,000.
He's like, you need a business plan, bro.
Yeah. He's like, you guys are looking for $100,000. You're first-time business owners. He goes, I'm just going to tell you, there's other ways to find money. And he goes, you don't want to deal with a big bank. He goes, you guys have credit cards? We're like, yeah, we have credit cards. You ever get a balance transfer in the mail? We're like, yeah. He goes, start thinking about those a little more. Research that. We get these balance transfers. Everybody probably gets them all the time. Hey, we'll give you $10,000, balance transfer. Move it to this card. 0% interest for 18 months. Fee is 3%. And we're like, oh shit. So we're like, if we put $10,000 on this card, your next bill is $10,300. So now we have three of us guys. We got $100,000 in balance transfers, deposited into our business bank account. This is all legit, by the way.
Yeah,
I mean,
of course.
The checks were sent to us, and we said, listen, nobody takes $1 until these cards are paid off. We have 12, every card's different. We have 12 to 18 months to pay these cards off. I set up an Excel sheet Discover is due by X date, Visa is due by X date, this one's due by this. We got to make sure that we pay these cards off by those dates. And that's how we got our financing.
That's
for
awesome,
CKO.
dude.
That's how we opened our business. And in 6 months, we paid off all the cards.
It's fucking great, dude. It's a great little nugget. So jumping back in, dude. Launched the business. Came up with creative strategies, and that's what people need to take from these types of things. I want to start trying to point out more of these nuggets for the young people paying attention to this, or even for the older guy or girl that wants to leave the rat race. Like, there's creative ways to get money.
Yep.
Even if you're sitting there and you're not sitting on, 6 figures in your bank, or sitting on, millions of dollars in retirement funds you could potentially borrow from. There is other creative ways to just get going. And on $100,000, essentially on credit cards, you guys are able to launch, close to a 7-figure business.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. Fast forward, because it's cold. I don't want to keep you out here all night.
No problem.
You guys then went from there and launched Marlboro, Tom's River,
and Wall.
Yep. Right? And how quickly were those done over the next few years?
So Freehold opened 2013. We opened Wall and Marlboro both in 2015. And then we opened Tom's River in 2018.
2008. Yeah. And were they similar startups to Freehold, where you got some instant, good memberships, and you were retaining customers?
Yeah, we learned the trade as we went. I was not a finance guy, so once I got a feel of what to do, Wall was the second location that we opened. So we opened Freehold with about 110 members, I would say, 105, 110 members, I think it was. Wall opened the doors with 225 members. We just knew at that point the model, pre-sale, get a good amount before you open for class. It's not like a food place where you just unlock the door and like, all right, we're selling food, come in and have lunch. With a gym, it's a little different. How can you have class if you don't have people?
Yeah.
You don't just unlock your doors and, be like, all right, come take class. It's like you need to pre-sale. So we knew we pre-saled the hell out of it with Wall and opened with over 200 members. Marlboro was a little different. We still opened with about 150 members, which was better than Freehold, but we already had a name in the area. But, again, it's different, and I would tell this to everybody is be careful what you do. Like, we wanted to expand. Freehold is off in the borough off Route 33 Business.
Location.
Yeah, we thought we needed to be in a prime time. So Marlboro, we opened on Route 9 in one of the top shopping centers. And we were like, oh my God, we're going to crush it here. And the pre-sale wasn't like it was on Wall, and it was about 125, 150, which is great, as far as the gym goes. But we were like, we just did 225.
Your expectations were set higher.
We were like, oh my gosh, we're on Route 9, we're going to crush it. But it's not necessarily, it's the product was good enough that you could have gone anywhere at that point.
Yeah. So you then are getting up to 2020 and COVID hits.
Yeah.
How does that impact your gyms?
COVID sucked. Like, there's nothing. Now you're not even open, right? And then you have people who are just kind of like, you know what? I like CKO, but do I need to keep that around? Let me cancel and I'll rejoin if when things turn around. Mm-hmm. Well, here we are, January of 2022. And things really haven't, settled down yet. Mm-hmm. So it's COVID sucks, It's like, and
it needs to fucking end. The people who are in control. I try not to go too crazy into politics on this, but the people who are in control just need to wake up, man. Yeah. Like the people are sick of this. The small business owner who's out there trying to just make it work. And again, I'm going to put my tinfoil hat on, and it's going to sound conspiratorial, but it's almost like they want to hurt the small business owner. Amazon's good, Walmart's good, Target was open, ShopRite was open, right? These large institutions were open, and I get, ShopRite is a food, but this guy's a regular dude's got 3 children, or you had 3 kids at the time, right?
Yep.
3 kids, a wife, a home. It's just such bullshit.
Yeah. I tell people this. I'm like, the craziest thing to me, Ryan, was my business is closed. I'm a health business, right? And COVID, it hits the people who are unhealthy. Yeah. So I'm like, I'm the business you want open.
Yeah. And the healthy guy's being punished too, who actually works at being healthy.
I'm closed, but I'm and I know my business, right? Everybody scans in. I know every single human that comes in the door. Mm-hmm. But I'm at Sam's Club, standing in line, wrapped around the corner.
and it's okay.
And all I'm thinking in my head is, I'm not allowed to open. There's thousands of people walking into the store right now.
Yep.
They didn't take my name. They don't know who was here.
Yeah.
Right?
They can't trace you.
No. But when people swipe and CKO, I know who was here. So God forbid there was a case. Here's my check-in monitor.
Yeah.
From
you
yesterday.
can contact these people.
And again, I'm seeing CKO, it's a small studio, right? I'm seeing, 100 people a day? Here's my roster from Monday. Tuesday, out of that 100 that came on Monday, it's probably a lot of the same people. Like I'm not allowed to open, but here I am wrapped around a corner
Super
on a big
frustrating.
store that's seeing thousands of, there's no tracking taking place, but I'm closed. And while I'm closed, I'm just bleeding people.
I think there's a bigger...
You grew for years and years and years, and you're just bleeding.
Yeah.
It's just like, what do you say? I'm not open. I can't even, we had virtual classes. We were posting free classes on YouTube. People want to come to the gym.
Yeah.
They want to be there. They want to see their trainers that they love.
Their relationships they built.
Yeah.
Their friends that they work out with. Yeah, that's tough, man. It's super frustrating. Again, I put my tinfoil hat on. I think it's a different agenda, and it's really... unsettling to watch them take control. 2 weeks to now.
Yeah.
You have a guy like you that you lost how many members?
Between all the gyms, over 1,000 members. I lost. Yeah.
That's a lot of money. People can quickly do the math. What is your monthly membership?
$70 a month before COVID. So,
yeah.
1,000 members.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money to lose, and you have overhead that your landlords are still sitting there. Maybe some are going to be lenient, others are going to be like, "Hey, I got bills too. You got to pay up."
Yeah.
And that's that's a stressful point. How did you push through that?
Yeah, I was fortunate in 3 of my locations where the landlords were cool, but my main location, Freehold, the landlord was like, "No, I want to get paid." And he goes, "I'm going through a tough time too." And what do you do? Thank God I'm a realtor. I had another job. My members at the time, what do you say to your customers, right?
Yeah.
Like, you just say like, "Hey guys, everybody's posting, we're all in this together," but nobody realizes that I'm selling a house and paying my rent at CKO because I'm like, I love CKO. I feel it's worth it. I want to save it. So I would legit sell a house and pay the rent.
But see, right there, that's the difference between winners and losers in business, because there's so many times I have hit the wall and been like, early on, especially in my career, when I've been like, I'm about to give up on this. And then you just put your head down and go to work, and it works out. And you end up 10 steps ahead, and I think you will as well, especially with your Freehold location.
Yeah.
So kudos to you for pivoting and adapting. And listen, that's, you're an entrepreneur. Hey, I got this other business over here, guys. So all you people that go to my gym, you want to help me out. We're all in this together. You're looking to sell your house. You got a friend that's selling a house. Give me a call. And good for you for getting through that and pushing through. You did sell your wall location recently, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So you're able to unload one of those at least.
Yeah.
Get rid of
I
some
had
of that.
2 trainers that were awesome, and you get to a point. It's when you open the gyms. Like I mentioned earlier, that I'm out. I'm in a backpack. I'm handing out class passes. Well, COVID happens. You got to do that again.
Yeah.
And like how am I doing that now?
Yeah. You can't go do that same ground game.
Now I have 4 locations. How am I doing that again?
Yeah.
When I did it, for each time, you have the time to dedicate to, all right, I'm opening Freehold, focused on opening Freehold. I'm opening Wall, I'm focused on opening Wall. Now, all 4 gyms have just been blasted. I can't walk around to shopping centers in 4 different towns. That's minimizing it, 4 different towns, because you pull from different areas.
Of course.
What do you do? Fortunately, I had 2 phenomenal trainers who were like, I would love to take this over. And we sold the Wall location.
Good for you. Yeah. And you still retain Tom's River and...
I have Tom's River and Freehold now. And then Freehold, it's going to be one of those stories, because in my mind they tell me it's going to be one of those stories, that location forced me to pay the rent while I was closed. Kind of a situation where like parking lot's always packed. You could afford it. Just kind of like we're all going through a tough time.
And listen,
you could afford it. It's like, all right, no problem.
It's tough. It is tough, right? Because you do see it from the perspective of the landlord, right?
Exactly, and I did.
It's
and
hard.
I was like, what could I
still leaves a
possibly
bad
say?
taste in your mouth.
Exactly. I look at it as I'm a great tenant. I've been here for years. The space was vacant before I came. So, you're annoyed, but I thank him every day because forcing me to pay was forcing me to be like, you know what? He's right.
Yeah.
Freehold is that good. I'm going to buy my own space. And I bought my own space now.
Yeah, you flipped it into a positive, and that's the way you got to think about it.
He forced me to be a commercial real estate investor now. I bought a restaurant that didn't open after COVID. I'm like, you know what? It's right down the street. I'm gonna move my gym there. I'm not gonna pay this guy rent anymore. I'm gonna move my facility to my own space now.
That's awesome. And where is that located?
I'm at 610 Park Avenue. This is gonna be at 536 Park Avenue.
All right.
So when I tell you 1,000 feet down the road, it's right up the road, and now I'll have it for the
your own building. Yeah.
Or my kids will have it one day.
So tell me your involvement in the gym, right? You're a dad of 3.
Yeah.
A husband. Full-time realtor.
Yeah.
How do you make the time to be involved in the gym? Because I know when we spoke previously, you said you were still pretty involved. Tell me some of the things that you do to make sure you're keeping those relationships strong and showing the people that are coming to the gym and giving you money that you care.
Yeah. So I always say, even though it's a franchise, it's not like a fast food place where you just kind of plop one in and people are going to come because they know the name. It is a mom and pop shop while it is a franchise. So for years, I've always worked the front desk on Monday nights. I could certainly pay somebody to work the counter, but I like to be there. I enjoy it. I like to see everybody. And it's like it forces me to, block off my time. When it comes to real estate, I don't book appointments on Monday night because I know I'm at CKO Monday nights. So I work the counter on Monday nights. The schedule changes all the time, but right now I teach Wednesday nights. So, I put myself on. So plus it keeps me fresh with teaching classes. I always like the fact that if God forbid, if it was nobody else, I could teach every class if I had to. I'm fortunate that I have amazing trainers. I always look at it as the fitness business is kind of a revolving door, but I have trainers that have been with me since the day I opened. And I'm like, why is that? Because they love the concept too. Yeah. They could have just went to another gym. They could have said, you know what? I'm going to go to X gym and there's a studio. I could do personal training there, but they stay at CKO.
And I don't know you that well, but you seem like a good guy. It's a testament to you then too, right? It means you're taking care of them. You're paying them a decent wage. You're treating them like good employees.
Like every small business, you get paid last.
Yeah.
Like my staff gets paid first, and God willing, there's money left over, and then I can get paid. But the staff is everything. And I'm lucky that, especially in Freehold, definitely Tom's River as well. But Freehold, I've had people around for almost 10 years now.
It's good. I'm going to have to come check it out.
Yeah.
So talking a little bit about your real estate business. We met via Fireside.
Yeah.
I'm launching a coaching group. I think everybody needs a mentor and a coach. And there's people who came up like me in high school and maybe they're in their late 20s now or early 20s or heading into their early 30s looking to leave the corporate world that were like me, right? I want to attract people who are like-minded. And I noticed with your brand, you kind of go off of the big baseball brand, which is like the big chew gum, right? And you branded yourself as this guy who was a ball player, and it is something that is unique in a world of real estate where you have predominantly everybody who's driving around expensive cars, wearing suits and doing things like billboards. And I'm not saying any of that is wrong, but how do I stand out in this world? And I always hear my other buddies who are realtors, Don Hughes and all these guys,
absolutely.
How do I stand out? There's what is the number in Ocean County of realtors?
Monmouth and Ocean County right now is up to, I think, 16,000 realtors.
16,000 realtors in the county. The company I work for, the broker-dealer insurance company, don't have 5,000 advisors.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a lot of people. So how do you stand out?
Yeah.
How do you do that? And how did you come up with that concept? And what do you try to do on social media to stand out?
So when it came to when I knew I was leaving Lehman Brothers, so I left Lehman Brothers because I was in Jersey City for years. And at the time, I was getting ready to open my 4th gym. And they were like, we're going to go back to Manhattan now. We're so small in size, we got to consolidate and bring everyone to Manhattan. I was like, well, I knew logistically I couldn't do that and CKO. And I said, you know what, this is the time. I've been slow playing it for years. I have my real estate license, never did anything with it. I'm going to go full force. They let me know in February of 17 we're going to move to the city July 1st. So I spoke to them and I said, listen, I have other businesses. The city really wouldn't work for me, because all my businesses are in central Jersey, Monmouth and Ocean County.
Yeah, commute to,
How was I going to start getting on the line at the Port Authority, even if I left work at 5, which that doesn't happen anymore, how was I walking to the Port Authority, getting online, and getting back to New Jersey to actually get to my businesses?
You knew it was time. You're like, hey, dude, I need to go into real estate.
They forced me into making the decision. I was like, you know what? Now's the time.
So how did you come up with that brand? What was in your head to say, I want to build this brand of, kind of around the baseball concept?
Yeah. So the baseball concept was actually a bar concept. My college roommate and I said, well, we should open a bar, call it Third Base, your last stop before home. Right? You're going out. Where do you go before you go home? You go to third base.
Yeah, that's great.
Third base, home. And then
that should be the name of your home bar too.
Yeah, exactly. It would work great as a bar. But I was like, I was at a different real estate company, and I was like, all right, this is cool, whatever. But I was like, I felt like 16,000 realtors. How many stick out? So I created the website, thirdbaserealestate.com. Your last stop before home. So you go to my website, and then you're home. You're home.
That's great.
So
I actually like that a lot. That's good. Yeah.
Right. That's good. It's just kind of like people are like, yeah. And if you played sports, you're like, genius. Yeah. This guy's great. So,
but see that right there. That right there is pulling in the
Yes.
people who are like-minded. Same way that I use social media. I'm putting out there who I am. Love me, hate me, whatever it may be. I'm gonna get people that are coming to me that are like me. You're gonna get people that are into sports, maybe really into baseball. Hey. Great common thing to talk about.
Yeah.
So you've been doing real estate ever since full time, and obviously the last few years have been insane in that world.
Yeah.
Which was again almost a blessing. You had, and I'm always about without talking about finance because I'm not allowed to, but theoretically you have buckets of different monies or businesses, and although this bucket was down, you had another lever that you could pull, which was real estate, and you had a really good real estate market. So quickly talk about your last 2 years and kind of the years that you had and what you saw, right? The migration.
Listen, when I first started real estate, it's terrifying, right? You go from a bi-weekly paycheck to you're at $0 every day. So I was like, this has to work. Like it was just like, I left Lehman Brothers. I'm like, this has to happen. While the last couple of years has been great, I left Lehman July 1st, 2017. And I was like, whatever I got to do to make this work, I'm going to do. So I just started advertising the hell out of the Third Base thing. I came up with this cartoon guy, a mortgage broker, Troy Sear, shout out to him, created me my character. And he was like, this would be great. It looks exactly like you.
It really does. It's funny.
And this character, and it could have just been a character that said just sold, just listed, under contract, whatever. But I'm like, why stop there? Like, I'm a dad. Let's do dad jokes with it.
Yeah.
And I legit focused this real estate world on a bunch of dad jokes with my cartoon character. And then, the market changes, of course. And I'm like, well, now I'm the recognizable guy because a cool website name, athletes love it. Third Base, last stop before home, they get it. And now if you're not an athlete, there's this cartoon guy. And they're like, oh my God, I was just in Dunkin' Donuts on today's Wednesday, I was in Dunkin' Donuts on Saturday, and a guy goes, you a realtor? Who's the guy with the cartoon? I was like, oh yeah, I saw your billboard and I got a postcard in the mail. He goes, genius.
Yeah.
And I'm like, when there's 16,000 realtors, and he wasn't looking to buy a home, he was just, he knew me.
He saw you. Yeah.
He was like, because he liked the concept. And I'm like, listen, if I did that much, then I know I'm doing the right thing. Even though he's not my client, maybe he tells people, I met the guy, with the cartoon head and the third base at Dunkin' Donuts the other day. He's a cool dude.
And it's a lateral strategy. Let's be honest. Real estate gets very boring, right? It's the same thing in my world, right? If I was allowed to talk about finance every day on social media, it would be like, Ryan's talking about taxes or Roth IRAs or life insurance. No one gives a shit, right? Until they're ready to sit down and talk about that stuff, they are looking and scrolling on social media to find people that they like, and then they follow them and see their content. What a great way. Hey, I'm telling dad jokes. I'm this regular type of dude. It's not all about just listed 100 houses. I don't care that you sold 30 houses this week.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. And honestly, what happens in the brain to me, and I tell this to some of my buddies, dude, you're posting so much because you are successful, so props to you. But after a while, I'm not even liking it because I feel like it's the same house I just saw yesterday.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. And a lot of realtors do that.
Yeah.
They just post, just sold today, and then they do a weekly recap, and I'm like,
Yeah.
how about,
Get more creative.
be funny.
Yeah, get more
funny,
creative.
be relatable.
Yeah.
I remember when I started, I was wearing a suit and tie because I came from Lehman Brothers, and I remember I went to show a house, and they were like, "Oh wow, are we underdressed?" And I'm like, "What am I doing?
Yeah.
I'm not relatable.
Yeah, I need to be me.
Let me be relatable."
Yeah.
And that's kind of where the cartoon guy comes in. It's like, oh, he's funny. I would, if I'm going to go out every weekend to look at houses, let's have fun.
Now, do you have a team in this, or you do it by yourself, or?
I just started a team. I would say April of 2021. I just started a team. The market got real tight, and I was like, when you're a realtor, you're human, right? How many houses could you possibly show? If everybody wants to go out on Saturday and Sunday, how do you do it? So I'm like, I don't want to lose anybody, so plus, and there's the people but then when you have a listing, you do get random calls from, Jimmy out in New York who's like, oh, I saw you have a listing. Can you show it to me? Well, I don't want to lose those because that's part of, real estate. Is like you want to capture as much business as you can.
Of course. You want to create the trap and get them in there and funnel them to your people.
Yeah, and then you juggle that with, well, I have a family. What if Jimmy is calling me for my listing, but then, now this guy or girl has another listing and he's calling her.
Yeah.
So I'm like, do I want to leave my family to show this guy that might not be loyal to me? So I'm like, you know what? I don't want to lose the business just in case. Let's start a team. And the way I started was when I left Lehman, I took every single phone call. I ran out. If it was Sunday night at 7 o'clock, and they
showing,
I want
covering
to go see
for
this
people.
House. Yeah, I want to go see this house. It's in Millstone. And I'm like, okay, it's 25 minutes away. I'm like, you know what? But maybe this is going to be my client. You get up off the couch. You could be in your pajamas. You're like, I'm going to get dressed right now. I'm going to go show that house because if I connect with them, that could be my client.
And some of them were, and some of them weren't.
And a lot weren't.
But you got to get up and.
But you have to try.
You have to get up to bat.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
You have to get up to bat. So what did you guys do in sales volume last year with your team?
So last year, the team we sold over 80 homes as a team, and we did 35 million in volume.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
And you only have three total people. 3
people, and that started in April. It was the first fella, Eddie Petrie. The second guy was P.T. Cataldo, was in July, and then Laura Fazio joined in September. So we started like halfway through the year, and we're going to end up being one of the top teams at RE/MAX.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah. Kudos to you guys and your team.
Yeah, thank you.
So, listen, something I like to do, because I want to keep you here, long in the cold, is talk about some other businesses you want to spotlight, right? This is about spotlighting other local business owners, people who have been through a tough story, veterans, ex-police, everything, whatever you want to do. Shout out somebody from the Monmouth and Ocean Carry. I want you to go with 2 of them, and then tell us something about their business.
Yeah. Well, the first one would obviously be Jersey Freeze. I was telling you about my buddy Matt, who opened CKO with me, and his partner Katie. She's a trainer at CKO as well. Katie's been working at Jersey Freeze since she's 15 years old. She's at Jersey Freeze, gosh, it's got to be over 30 years now. Great story. She started just working the counter, and now she's an owner.
What is Just Freeze?
Jersey Freeze
Jersey
is
Freeze, I'm sorry.
Ice cream / grill. So you want to go there for lunch, burgers, grilled cheese, whatever. Like that kind of just basic food. I take my kids there all the time. They love it.
Easy for the kids.
They get something different every single time.
And where are they located exactly?
Freehold. Right on Route 9 in Freehold.
Right on Route 9.
Yep. And then if I'll give you 2 more. My friend Steve, Steve Cortopassi, he was a CKO owner. Also is invested in a meal prep company as well. So Fresh, So Clean. One of my best friends since I'm 18 years old.
How does Jamie feel about that?
It's tough. It's like, look at me. I got two guys that I love that are both in meal prep, but it's like
Coronado's a buddy of mine. He's got a prep company too. Actually, he's going to be coming on the show.
And I've spoken to him too. Yeah. Exactly. And he's a good kid too. And it's like, and it's funny, what I say with real estate, and I'll say with any business is, have a good product and there's enough business for everybody.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
like,
true.
You have a good product. There's plenty of gym owners that I'm friends with that they might not like boxing, but they're going to like their concept.
We can all work together. I say that in my space all the time too.
Exactly.
You may be fixated on an area of finance that I don't really care about,
Yeah.
or I don't have as much interest in?
Yeah.
Why can't we work on the client together? Why does it have to be, it's either me or you?
Exactly.
So I get what you're saying.
Yep.
Well,
The
dude,
last
look,
guy I would say is 618 in Freehold, Matt Borowski.
I've been to his restaurant.
He's like
Yeah.
unbelievable business, better guy.
Yeah.
That's all I can
Actually,
say about him. Yeah.
Sal Ventry, another realtor who was on the
Yes.
show,
I know Sal. Yeah.
he had
absolutely.
his son's christening or first
Yeah.
birthday or something there.
Yeah.
It was a nice spot.
Yeah.
Really good spot.
Like that. That's all I can say about that. Is the restaurant's amazing. He as an individual is like nothing you'll ever experience.
Yeah, I think I
Unbelievable.
briefly met him.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have to get him on in the future as well.
Definitely should. Yeah.
Well, dude, thank you for coming out on this cold night and
Thank
last
you.
minute, dude. I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
No, my pleasure.
Really, we could talk for an hour and a half about
yeah.
business. You seem like a sharp guy, a creative
Thank
guy. But hopefully this inspires somebody and also get some eyes on you as well.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks for
Thank
coming,
you,
brother.
bud. Thank you.
Cheers.
You too.